traffic. Post on the block with this work coming shopping. The flame make it rain. This boy's picking the doctor. Bitch got a lisp and it's spitting out awkward.
Friday pregame starting right now on the Fan Sports Network and Trailblazer Sports Vision, getting you ready for game day here in the Fan Sports Network studios. Got a great show on tap for you here for the next half an hour as we'll get you all ready for kickoff, and then we'll get it out to Rod Zundel in Georgia as Utah Tech taking on another ranked opponent, Devin Dixon, Paul Ratliff, number 24, West Georgia. Last road trip ever in the UAC for the Blazers, Paulie.
That's right, taking a trip out to Georgia at the Peach State and going to hopefully come back with a win. I mean, I think that West Georgia, they played some good teams. They lost to Austin Peay, lost to Abilene Christian, lost to Tarleton State. So they've lost to the top of the UAC, and they've gotten some wins against the middle and bottom. I think Utah Tech's got a puncher's chance in this one.
You look at the standings in the UAC entering today, Tarleton State, 5-1, 9-1 overall. Their only loss to Abilene Christian 2 weeks ago. Abilene Christian is also 5-1, 6-4 overall. SUU has crept up to 4-2 in the conference now and is sitting in third. West Georgia is sitting there at 4-3 in conference play. And then you've got Austin Peay, Eastern Kentucky, Central Arkansas, and then down there with one conference win, North Alabama and Utah Tech. And, of course, that one conference win for Utah Tech was over North Alabama in overtime, a game you called the other day, Paulie.
Yeah, it was an exciting game, overtime game with a missed PAT being the reason Utah Tech made the PAT. Ilya knocked it through to win, but I expect another tight game like that this week.
A little bit about the West Georgia Wolves, second year of a 4-year transition from Division II to Division I. So they're doing the same thing that Utah Tech did. Of course, our 5 years were up and we're full go now. Playoffs are eligible for all sports and everything like that. But this West Georgia team is not. They're playing for the regular season. There is no postseason. And obviously, if they won out, they probably would have got a bid to the FCS. You know, there's 3 ranked UAC teams, Tarleton State, Abilene Christian, and West Georgia. And you got to think all of them would get in. Now, with them not being able to go, if there is a 3-bid conference and SUU wins their final 2 games of the season, maybe the T-Birds can sneak into the FCS playoffs. I'd give them about a 10%, 15% chance, but there is a chance, but some things have to fall their way in the last couple weeks of the season. We know there's no playoffs for Utah Tech, but they're going to try to go play spoiler against the Wolves. The Wolves got off to a bad start in October. They had 3 straight losses, but then they've rebounded with consecutive wins over Central Arkansas and North Alabama. Last week, they beat North Alabama 24-17. Prior to that, they beat Central Arkansas 18-17. And so overall, 7-3 record. Their junior quarterback, Paulie, what do we see from Davin Widener?
Yeah, Widener is a dual threat, 1,471 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Gets sacked quite a bit, 15 times on the season. Overall, a good rating, 120.8. But where he gives you some added value is the rushing game. 106 carries for him, 436 yards, and 3 more touchdowns. So he is a true dual threat that Utah Tech will have to be ready for.
He does spread his touchdown passes around 6 different receivers. 5 at least have 2 touchdowns to their credit through 10 games. Redshirt freshman wide receiver Jordan Dees leads the Wolves 482 yards, 33 catches, 3 touchdowns. So watch, you'll probably hear his name called during the broadcast. The running back Latrell Murrell, 792 yards on 156 carries. He's got a pair of touchdowns. He had a UAC season high 128 yards on 16 rushes and a TD in last Saturday's win for the Wolves at North Alabama when they won by a touchdown. Watch out defensively for their linebacker named Jay Carter, 63 total tackles, 5.5 TFLs, 2.5 sacks in 10 games. And defensively, Paulie, they do a lot of different blitzes. They stand up, they move around, a lot of shifts, a lot of stunts, really make it hard on the offensive line to know their assignments. So this offensive line going to be important for Utah Tech to try to be in position to win this game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's right. Utah Tech's offensive line at the beginning of the season had given up like a really low amount of sacks, or ranked in the top 10 in the FCS in sacks allowed. And one guy they're going to have to watch for is David Hoge. He's got 3 forced fumbles and 7 sacks on the season. So he's a terror coming off the edge for the Wolves. So this will that'll be a test for him. The offensive line, he's one of the better pass rushers in the UAC.
We'll see what Bronson Barbin can do to respond from a not his best performance. He had a great performance in the overtime win, but was intercepted 4 times. 2 went for pick sixes last week. We'll see what Asa Chapman can do. He's been hot the last 3 weeks. Had his first collegiate 100-yard game and a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter and overtime in the win 2 weeks ago. And so it's going to be fun to see how it plays out. We're going to talk with Coach Moynihan coming up next. We're going to have our coordinator's corner. And we'll talk about the defense and the West Georgia offense. And then we'll talk a little bit with some players. Chris Street, this is his final road game ever in his career. His final home game for senior day coming next week. We'll talk with Chris. Also, former Crimson Cliffs Mustang, Marley Sagapolo, will drop by. So we'll get to Coach Moynihan, then some players, and then Paul and I will wrap things up and get it out to Rod Zundel a little bit later on here in the pregame show. It's Trailblazer Game Day, live on the Fan Sports Network and Trailblazer Sports Vision. Stay with us. Marley Sagapolo hanging out with me here. Last road trip of the season. How are we feeling, Marley?
Doing good. Body's still doing really good throughout the season. Coming out really strong still. If we got to finish these last 2 games, and trying to finish strong.
Last road trip for the seniors, man. I know that's a big deal for those seniors playing their last road game, bonding on the road. It would be good to get a win over a good football team.
Yeah, I just trying to send them out with a bang, just as I would if I was a senior. So trying to play my hearts out for them.
Talk to me a little bit about last week. I know it didn't go your way. Defense balled out. Offense, just too many turnovers.
Yeah, you can't control the other side of the ball. Defense, we really harped on what we can control the whole week. Worked real hard, had a great practice. So trying to stack on this week. Hopefully offense can come around. That alignment, let's talk about West Georgia for a second. You've seen the film, right? They dance around. They change their sets. Like, you have to be really disciplined. What's the mindset for them? And then on the other side of the ball, blocking their offense, blocking you defensively. What's the mindset for you on defense? Just get what comes to us. Follow my keys, whatever they do in the backfield doesn't apply to us up front. So whatever keys we get up front is what we'll do. Knock it back, make the play, get a sack, whatever.
How much fun are you having this season? I mean, you guys got a chance to win 4 games if you can win out. Obviously, this is a huge test against a ranked team. They can't go to the playoffs, though, so you can kind of go to their place and play spoiler a little bit. What's the mindset? What's the talk in the locker room?
Just proving who we really are. The record really doesn't show the kind of team that we've been wanting to be, but still, we're still out here. We're still grinding, still putting in work, still practicing. So yeah, just coming out hungry, just still ready to show who we are.
Coach has been talking about finishing all year long. I know that's kind of been a message of his. Is it hard when you get down to the end of it? There's no postseason possibilities, or is it rather easy because you just love the game?
I just love it. No matter what comes on, if I'm injured or not, still happy to come out here on the field. Yeah, just grateful.
blessing to stay healthy this year, right? After last year?
Yeah, it's a great blessing. And, just seeing what I missed is really, really take a chance to take it all in.
You're coming off 7 tackles. That's a high. What was it about last week that kind of helped you get 7, man? I mean, take me through that performance.
Just stacking every practice every week it's been really helping me. And the keys came every time. Coach, the play calls were right where the plays were coming to, so it made the plays that came to me. And yeah.
How many tackles this week?
Hopefully 10,
10?
around there. Yeah.
Double digits?
So something like that.
A couple TFLs, maybe a sack.
Yeah, I need some sacks. Yeah, definitely.
Go get it done. Good luck against West Georgia. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Thank you.
The young man, Chris Street, hanging out with me. What's good, Chris?
How are you doing? I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, the end of the world as you know it. Final road trip for you, buddy. How are we feeling?
I feel grateful, honestly. It's been a blessing. Not many people get to do this. Not many people get to come to college and play Division I sports. But I just kind of slow it down and kind of smell the roses. That's my famous saying. Just like slow down, smell the roses, enjoy all the little things that we're doing. So I'm in a state of graciousness right now.
I love it. Yeah. And gracious if the offensive line can find you a couple holes and maybe find the end zone on Saturday.
Well, of course. I got faith in them. I believe the big boys will get it done. I mean, we've had a lot of tough looks this year, but ultimately it's all about trust. The team's built on trust. So as long as I can keep that, I think they'll provide for me. So no stress.
Chris Street, Trailblazer running back, hanging out with me. What's the journey been like? Try to summarize your college days with 2 games left in your career.
Ooh, man. I'll say a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster. I mean, have many ups, have many downs, but that's just kind of how it goes. That's life in general. But yeah, the college journey has definitely been a roller coaster. You just got to appreciate those high moments and appreciate the lessons you learn from the lows.
What's next for Chris Street after 2 more football games?
Got to go home, move back to Southern California, and start training. And hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to make it to the next level, do my pro day, and we'll see how it goes.
I love it. Chris hanging out with me here, West Georgia on the mind here. The camaraderie. I know you guys have 2 wins. We know there's no postseason.
Right.
They're on probation. They can't go to the playoffs, but you can still spoil them at home. I mean, what's the motivation like for you and your teammates?
Just opportunity. Like I said, not a lot of people get to do this. Go travel, have a plane, go to another state and go play football. I mean, it's a great game. So, I think that's just the motivation. We have this opportunity, this great opportunity. Every day you get a chance and a choice, and we're choosing to be grateful and to really go get it. Show these fans what we got to do, what we got in store. Yeah.
Does it come down to just loving the game of football and just playing because you love it on a game like this and in a game like you'll see when senior night and your home finale?
Absolutely. When we have the season that we've had thus far, it really just comes down to your why and how much you love the game. That's why I believe.
It seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like just talking to you and knowing Breton and knowing Asa
right.
and getting to know that running back room, Kona, and the list goes on and on.
Right.
You're the elder statesman, but it seems like you guys have a really tight bond as a running group.
Oh, absolutely. We do a lot together, outside of football. We like to try and go eat together 1 time a week at least. But the camaraderie is just next level. I mean, throughout my collegiate career, this year specifically, I feel like we've been the closest, and it's never been this close, and I've never experienced like this. There's no animosity, ulterior motives. We all truly love each other, and we support each other during the games. If it's Ace's game, it's Ace's game. We're cheering Ace on full, hoping he does well. There's no malice, held in the room. So I really love it. That's just truly, it's God's love. We're showing God's love out there. That's it.
Chris Street hanging out with me. Good words there. But,
absolutely.
4 turnovers, too many to win on the road against a good top 20 team last week. How do you guys limit the turnovers this week and go down there and play spoiler?
We just got to take care of the football at the end of the day. We got to trust each other. We got to trust in, what we're doing. Just playing our brand of ball. So I believe that's kind of the key to it. Take care of the football and feeding the backs. Feeding the backs. Yeah, we're hungry.
You got to get a touchdown in the next 2 games, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But, it's all in the man's plan. So we'll see. I hope. But, it's all in the man's plan.
I think Trailblazer Nation hoping with you. Chris Street stopping by West Georgia. Thanks for the time, buddy. Go get him.
No problem. My pleasure.
Hey, sports fans, welcome in here on the Fan Sports Network to our Coordinator's Corner, getting you ready for Utah Tech football as they take on number 24, West Georgia. And joining us here on the pregame show, defensive coordinator, Coach Moynihan. And good morning, Coach. How we doing? How we feeling? Getting ready for the final road trip of the season.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Be good to get the road trips done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of travel this year for the Blazers.
Oh, well, that's the beauty of playing in the UAC. Yeah, get to see the country.
Yeah, final road trip in the UAC before we go to the Big Sky next year. Is that talked about a lot during the season? I know you guys are all business and you're playing the schedule out and you're getting ready with the game plans, but in the back of everybody's mind has to be the Big Sky move next summer.
To a point, but also kind of you're just pretty much focused on each week and that opponent and that sort of deal. You're not really thinking too far ahead, but certainly from a recruiting standpoint, especially talking to kids in state or in kind of this region, being able to say, all right, like, the away games are going to be a little bit closer, make it easier for mom and dad and stuff like that. So.
Absolutely. Utah Tech and West Georgia, we've only had one meeting on the football field. That came in the 2024 home finale last year. And we were up double digits at halftime, and that one slipped away. West Georgia came back and won 34-31. Now we got to go out there to Carlton. I've never been to that part of Georgia, Coach. Have you ever been to the state of Georgia, period?
I had 2 summers ago. I missed a connecting flight. I had to spend the night in Atlanta. So but in all seriousness, that's kind of the extent of my travel.
A good football team you're facing. Before we get into the matchup with West Georgia too deep here, let's go back and just kind of recap for our fans last week. I thought the defense played really well against another top 20 team at Abilene Christian. What was your assessment of the defense?
Yeah, I thought in terms of what we asked them to do, game plan-wise, of being able to be multiple with our fronts and with our coverages and kind of give their quarterback some different looks there. To your point, the guys did execute very well. There were some kind of explosive plays towards the end where, from a play call standpoint, I kind of wish I had back, and from just with the guys, they wish execution wise they had done a little bit better there. But in terms of straining, playing hard, working to be able to finish like all the stuff that we tried to emphasize during the course of the week, they did a good job of executing.
I love to hear that, though. You're always trying to be a better play caller, and there's a couple plays that were. Was it a tough decision? Take me inside the mind of one of those plays that you're specifically talking about. Did you guys send a blitz or something of that nature?
Yeah. So the first touchdown of the second half, where they were starting to move the ball, they were starting to drive it. We'd gotten to them to a third and 1. So in my mind, I was thinking, all right, hey, like this is a time to be able to get a stop, and so we sent a pressure, and there wasn't really any layers to the defense. So once the ball was able to break through the line of scrimmage, there really wasn't anyone available to get them on the ground. In hindsight, just how we were playing, where they were at field position-wise, we probably would have been better off saying, all right, hey, even if they gain the first down, it'll be okay. Like, we'll make them play 1st and 10 again. Like, something good will happen that we'll be able to get off the field in a few plays as opposed to needing to get off the field right then and there.
Almost sounds like you just had an aggressive mindset in that situation where maybe that wasn't the time to do that. But the self-awareness is great. I love to hear that. That's interesting to me. Coach, what guys stood out in that on the defensive side of the ball in that game against Abilene Christian?
Yeah, I'd say kind of 2 people overall were Braden Cervello. He was a unrecruited walk-on, so he kind of showed up in the spring looking for an opportunity, and so being able to see him on the road against a top 20 team, like do a really good job executing the plan, being able to make the plays that were available to him, that was really encouraging. And kind of a similar deal with Moy Posse, another young walk-on at the inside linebacker spot. The production that he had and the way he's progressed through the season, the way those guys stepped up was really encouraging.
Yeah, Marley Sagapolo had 7 tackles too.
Yeah,
I think it was a season high for Marley.
Yes, he's been. Marley's done a really good job all year. It's been great having him back.
Coach, as we shift our focus to West Georgia, the 3-headed monster in the backfield, I'm sure you know they have 3 rushers over 400 yards on the season. All of them average over 4 yards a carry. Obviously, this is a team that makes their hay running the football. What's the game plan to stop this 3-headed monster they have in the backfield?
Yeah, so I think it's a few different things. It's understanding how they like to be able to run the football. So there's a good amount of kind of outside zone stretch type concepts, and then they pair it up well with plays involving pullers, kind of misdirection type of type of plays. So making sure we're doing a good job from a leverage standpoint there, but then also being able to have some extra defenders in position to be able to trigger on the run when it happens. And so having guys at that second and that third level who we can count on being in the fit will be important this week.
How's the health? I mean, I know you get late in the season and you're dinged up, right? I practiced last night. I saw a few guys not going. Yeah. Overall, how deep are you into the rotation in some positions right now, Coach?
I think it all kind of depends. Losing Leighton, Tanavasa definitely hurts, but we've been able to get Will all about back the last couple weeks, and that certainly helps out there. We're anticipating some other guys on the back end being back, being available this week, even in a limited capacity. We're just being able to gain some fresh legs at this point in the season is critical.
Another ranked opponent.
Yes.
I mean, this will be your 7th ranked opponent that you've played on the season. It's a road game. We haven't beat a ranked opponent this season. We're 0-6. I mean, the schedule's a gauntlet, right? What's it going to take from all three phases, not just the defense, but the special teams and the offense to go down there and, beat a West Georgia team that's ranked? Now, they can't go to the postseason. They're still in that probationary status. They're not eligible for the FCS championships. Yeah, they're kind of like we were the last 5 years. We have to wait out that period. So you're definitely going down there to play spoiler. Even though they're a top 25 team, they can't go to the postseason. So how do you get your guys up for a game like this on the road, final game of the season, with just 2 wins under your belt?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things where we rely on the players and the leadership structures there to be able to say, okay, hey, regardless of the previous games, each and every game, each and every opportunity that you have to play football is important, and you have to treat it like that. But then in terms of our preparation, being able to say, okay, hey, here's what the expectation is going into this week, and we're going to demand that you guys meet those expectations. And I think they've done a good job in the previous weeks of meeting the challenge, stepping up, and so we're going to expect the same thing.
By the way, the last road win against a ranked opponent was number 19 Stephen F. Austin back in 2022. So trying to buck that trend, trying to buck that history. Go ahead, Paulie.
That's right. And Coach, obviously with the dual threat quarterback in Davin Widener, you saw him last year. He likes to get out and run. But one thing he does do is he gets sacked quite a bit, 15 times this year. Is that something you're emphasizing in the meetings this week? Get after this guy, because sometimes he'll take some sacks.
Yes. I think it's a couple of things where it's, yes, the opportunities for sacks are there, but to your point, he does a very good job of extending the play. And when he breaks the pocket, he is a very tough tackler. He's a big, strong runner. He's a long strider. So it might not look like he's running fast, but he is covering a lot of ground. And so it's very much being able to say, okay, hey, when the opportunity to rush presents itself, we got to do so in the right way in terms of keeping him caged within the pocket, trusting that the rush and the coverage will pair up, and the opportunity to get him on the ground will present itself, and then now being able to take advantage of that opportunity.
Coach, you've been here for a couple of seasons now. I feel like this team is better than last year's team. I feel like we're making progress. I know maybe it doesn't show in the win-loss column as much as you and your fellow coaches would like. And again, like I mentioned, the schedule has been really tough. We've played 29 top 25 teams since we went Division I. We've played 20 FCS playoff teams, and it feels like another matchup against a good football team. How does West Georgia on tape, from what you've seen in preparation for this game, compare to what you see at Abilene Christian, what you saw against Tarleton State, some of these teams that we think are going to be in the FCS playoffs?
Yeah, I think they definitely stack up very well to those types of teams in terms of like the quarterback play, their skill positions, how well they execute from an offensive line standpoint. They have some tight ends who are some pretty unique athletes, like very similar to our guy Eric Olson. Yeah, in terms of how they use them in the pass game. And so I think it's very much being able to say, okay, hey, we want to be able to position ourselves well from a run standpoint, but then, all right, hey, here's how they're going to try and challenge us down the field. Make sure that we're in a good spot leverage wise there.
A couple keys for the defense. I mean, is there a number you'd love to see your defense hold them to on their home field on Saturday?
I think it's less about that, but I think kind of overall it's being able to say, okay, hey, let's do a good job of limiting the explosive plays when we get them to third down, when we get them into the red zone. Hey, let's do a really good job of executing in those critical situations, so that way we're able to keep them off the field as much as possible, or get them off the field as much as possible.
You got to be encouraged. I mean, when you look at the 2 pick sixes, you take those 14 points off the board. You played a top 20 team higher ranked last week, and really your defense only gave up 17 points. So you got to be encouraged that maybe they can do that type of performance again. Offense can clean a few things up, and maybe we can shock West Georgia.
Yeah, it's all, just kind of being able to play, to your point, being able to play good complementary football. And so, from our standpoint defensively, hey, when the offense scores or when we're able to kind of get them pinned deep, making sure that we can kind of win those situations and be able to get the ball back to the offense with the same score on the scoreboard, and then with a good field position to be able to capitalize.
Go get some turnovers.
Yes, that's also.
Let's go get some turnovers. Coach Moynihan, defensive coordinator, joining us on the Coordinator's Corner, getting you ready for kickoff, Utah Tech and West Georgia. Coach, best of luck. Go get them, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we got some players will join us. We'll get a couple players' thoughts, including Marley Sagapolu and the senior Chris Street. They're going to stop by on Coordinator's Corner in the books, but lots more coming up on the pregame show. A lot of fun. It's always fun to catch up with Coordinator's Corner with Coach Moynihan. And then, of course, moments ago, Marley Sagapolu and Chris Street. And I'd like to see Chris get in the end zone. He's got 2 games left. I'd like to see him get in the end zone twice, maybe one each game. That running back room seems really tight. And we need to rely on that a little bit if we're going to beat West Georgia. Whether it's Bretton Stone, Asa Chapman, or Chris Street, somebody's got to pop and get in the end zone.
That's right. Just a few in the win, just a couple weeks ago, there was over 200 yards rushing on the ground. Like, that's kind of the formula. Take a little off of the quarterback room's plate and just let the running backs run wild. I think that's a great game plan and something that Trailblazers should try and pursue in this game against West Georgia.
Obviously, it'd be nice to get an explosive play, whether that's to, Olsen or Eggett, one of the tight ends, or Thomason or one of the wide receivers. We need to find some explosive plays and got to value the football. Tough to win on the road in the UAC, especially like last week where you have 4 turnovers. Mm-hmm. The defense only gives up 17 points and you end up losing pretty badly, but it was a lot due to the effort of the defense. The defense has been playing hard. They need the offense and the special teams. If everything gels today, Paulie, can the Blazers beat West Georgia? What's your crystal ball saying?
That's what I think. If they get this game into the fourth quarter, it being a 1-score game, I think that there is a puncher's chance to win on the road here in Georgia against the Wolves, because I think that this team, they've had some setbacks, but they played a really good ranked opponent last week. So it'll be interesting, and I think they're going to come with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and I think they're going to come out and I'm going to call this. I think Utah Tech wins this football game, 24-21.
Yeah, they would buck that 0-6 against ranked opponents trend this year. It's been a gauntlet of schedule. Really, since you went to Division I, it's been a really difficult schedule. It has been that case all year long. So last chance against a ranked opponent before you wrap up the season next week back at Greater Zion Stadium. Paulie calling for the upset. What's got to happen? What's the keys if they're going to upset West Georgia?
It's got to be a turnover-free game or 1 or less turnovers, I would say, because if you're going to win a game against a ranked opponent on the road, you're going to have to play a pretty clean game. Penalties as well got to be low, and I think, like you said, the explosive plays, whether it comes in the run game or to Thomason or Eggett or Olsen in the pass game, it's just got to be explosive plays. 20-plus yard plays, I think, are the key to winning this one.
All right, Utah Tech on their final road trip in Georgia. Final road game in the UAC in the Peach State. It's a matinee, and we've got it for you here on the Fan Sports Network. When we come back, we're going to get it down to Georgia. And in his 4th year, the voice of the Trailblazers, Rod Zundel. For Paul Ratliff, Devin Dixon, enjoy the game, everybody, live on the Fan Sports Network. We'll see you next time.
Hey, 1 on me, 103, 1, 2, 3. Fucking go!
How about that? Touchdown, Trailblazers! Touchdown, Trailblazers!
Welcome to Trailblazer Kickoff, presented by Camping World of St. George. Your next great outdoor adventure begins under the big American flag.
Let's go!
Georgia. For only the 2nd time in school history, Georgia, we're playing in the state of Georgia.
Keeps Georgia.
It's the final road game of the season.
Georgia.
And we're 30 minutes from kick. Trailblazers and Wolves of West Georgia.
Georgia on my mind.
We're in Carrollton, Georgia, just under an hour outside of Atlanta, getting ready for the second ever meeting between Utah Tech and the Wolves of West Georgia. They met for the first time last year in St. George. West Georgia came away with a come from behind 34-31 win. Hi there, everybody. Rod Zundel here. Glad to have you aboard for this high noon matchup between the Trailblazers and the Wolves. Trailblazers come in with a record of 2-8 overall, 1-5 in conference play. West Georgia ranked 24th in the country. This is the 7th team in 11 games that Utah Tech has played that's been ranked. West Georgia 7-3 overall, 4-3 in the United Athletic Conference. And they're coming off a 7-point win, 24-17 last week at North Alabama. Of course, Utah Tech coming off a 31-10 loss last week at Abilene Christian. The big culprit in that game a week ago, 4 interceptions, and 2 of those were returned for touchdowns on back-to-back possessions. So it'll be interesting to see how the young quarterback Bronson Barbin, a redshirt freshman, as part of his learning progression as a college quarterback, how he will look to bounce back today after that game last week. It's all part of the not-so-fun process at times of being a young, talented quarterback in Division I football. Trailblazers, they are getting thin at receiver, especially last week. 3 receivers missed the game against the Wildcats, so offensive coordinator Greg Stevens has had to get extra creative with the guys that he has on the field, and they're healthy. Last week, quarterback Reggie Graff came in and lined up at the receiver position on a number of plays, mainly used as a decoy, but it worked for Utah Tech's only touchdown right here. Reggie lining up in the slot position, comes in motion. 2 defenders follow Reggie. They have no clue that the ball was handed off to Asa Chapman, who walked in for the touchdown. This week, Reggie Graff has been practicing at the receiver spot, not just as a decoy, but going out in routes. So we'll probably see more of Reggie play a little bit more receiver today. Utah Tech's defense, they gave him a shot last week, only allowing 3 plays over 20 yards. That's impressive. The defense shut out the Wildcats in the first half. Their only scores came on those back-to-back pick sixes in the first half. Trailblazers had been without a sack last couple of games, but they were able to get back on track. Dallin Havea picked up his team-leading 5th sack of the season thanks to the pressure from Cody Carlson and Moon Ashby. Now, West Georgia in only its second year of Division I football, 4 wins a year ago in their first season. Now they come into today 7-3 overall, 4-3 in conference play. The Wolves are coming off that 7-point win at North Alabama. That's their closest rivals a week ago. And the West Georgia defense, they are a sacking machine. They dropped the Lions quarterback 5 times last week. 31 total sacks this season. That's best in the United Athletic Conference. They're the second best overall defense in the conference as well. Now, they're not the biggest team Utah Tech has faced this season. However, they just may be the most athletic team that they've faced this year. They're not a team with eye-popping numbers, a respectable 169 yards per game rushing, 184 passing. Latrell Morrell, you just saw right there. He's the guy to watch on the ground, leading rusher at 79 per game. Wolves quarterback Davin Widener had one of his best games of his career last week, 274 yards through the air, second best of his season. Averages only 163 yards passing a game with 14 touchdowns and only 8 picks. So the 3 losses for the Wolves this season have all come by way of blowouts against top teams in the conference, ACU, Tarleton, and Austin Peay, losing by an average of 22 points. And the last 3 wins of the year so far, Wolves have won. They won by 3 at Southern Utah, a 1-point win over Central Arkansas, and then last week's 7-point win over North Alabama. But West Georgia, they're ranked 24th in the country, and their head coach, Joel Taylor, is giving it the old coaches speak and saying all the right things when a 7-win team is getting ready to hook up with a 2-win team. Here's the coach.
Yeah, man. I don't want to say trap game, but that's a trap game now. I think Utah Tech, man, is a good ball club. Same thing, man. Their record does not indicate how well they have, played. They're in every game. I think they were tight with Tarleton, going into halftime. Last week I think the score might have been 14-7 or 14-10 going into the fourth quarter with Abilene. I think they do a good job of coaching their kids. I think schematically, I think they do some good things offensively. They do some good things defensively as well. Those kids play hard, we got to do a good job. We got to have a great week of preparation. And then we got to do a great job of executing on Saturday because they'll come in here, trying to get a dang on win, get this thing started for them. But they're a good ball club, and like I said, their record does not indicate who they are.
So I'm not saying that this 2-win Utah Tech team is coming in here and it's a trap game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. So we'll see if they think that with them winning the last couple of games that this will be an easy walkover. We'll find out as we are 25 minutes away from kickoff. Now, last week, Utah Tech kicker Ilya Uvaidov nailed a 51-yard field goal. That's his fourth field goal of over 50 yards this season and his fifth field goal of over 50 yards for his career in the last 2 years. He is proving to be one of the longest and most accurate kickers in school history. But now it's time to get to know Ilya just a little bit better in this edition of Trailblazer Tales.
Hi, my name is Ilya Uvaidov. I am from Gilbert, Arizona. I'm a redshirt junior, and I kick here at Utah Tech. I'm a first-generation American. My parents moved here from the Soviet Union, and they were originally in New York, and they moved to Gilbert, Arizona, where I was born and raised. And I have 3 sisters. I've got an older sister and then 2 younger sisters. Growing up, I was playing soccer since I was about 3 years old, and it was my sophomore year of high school. Going into my junior year, I was working goal kicks. I was a goalkeeper, and the offensive line coach at my high school asked me if I wanted to be a kicker. I wanted to kick for the team next year, and he was a lot larger than me, and I was honestly kind of intimidated, so I just said yes to kind of let him leave me alone. And I spent that entire summer working, trying to figure out how to kick a football, and going into my junior year of high school, I was, I think, first team all-conference for kicker and punter, and then just building off of that, I was blessed with an offer to play here at Utah Tech. When I was getting recruited here, I got invited to go to a game day visit against Weber State. It was September 11th, 2021, I believe. And just flying into the St. George airport, I just saw the Red Rocks. I saw how amazing the people were here. I saw how beautiful the campus was, the city was, and I just fell in love with the school immediately. And I just knew the moment I stepped on campus, this is exactly where I wanted to be, and this is what I wanted to do. So a funny story I have from my freshman year was we were in the middle of the season. We were just working on field goals, technique, and whatnot, and I remember it was a, I think, 40-something yarder left hash, and hit it good. It didn't come off good off my foot, and it was just a knuckler straight into a poor water girl that was sitting probably 10 yards to the left of the uprights, and she didn't see it until it hit her, and I think about that kick a lot, more than I probably should.
Now, Ilya was a little bit hesitant to give us permission to use that video, but, needless to say that they all have a good sense of humor about it. And the best part of it, she's okay. She walked away unscathed. All right, we're going to take a break. Right now, it is senior day for West Georgia. This is their final game of the season. They're done after this. Trailblazers, of course, have a game next week to wrap up the season at home against Eastern Kentucky. When we come back, though, a history lesson of the city in which we are playing today, a breakdown of what happened a week ago, and he walked onto his team 7 months ago. Now he's a starting linebacker. That's when Trailblazer Kickoff comes back to Carrollton.
Welcome to Utah Tech University. From classrooms to cliffs and lectures to lakes. Here, we celebrate active learning, active life. Our Trailblazers learn by doing, are career ready, and solve real problems with real partners to meet community needs. Here, students get the full college experience and choose from 300 affordable academic programs. All in one of the most stunning destinations on Earth. With this as your backyard, life is just as active as your education. Come experience active learning, active life at Utah Tech University.
The city of Carrollton was incorporated in 1829, named after Charles Carroll, the last living signer of the Declaration of Independence. In 1906, the Fort District Agricultural and Mechanical School was founded, and in 1933, the name was changed to West Georgia College. And then in 2005, it received its current name of the University of West Georgia.
All right, here in Carrollton, Georgia, we're 20 minutes away from kickoff. Utah Tech and the 24th ranked West Georgia Wolves. Rod Zundel here on Trailblazer Kickoff. Now, last week at Abilene, Utah Tech did a number of things very well, but mistakes would ultimately cost them a chance at the upset. Time now to take a look back at last week in sweet Abilene, Texas, and the sounds of the game. Welcome to the plains of Abilene, Texas.
Everything we have is what it takes.
It's the fourth ever meeting between Utah Tech and Abilene Christian.
Push harder, fight harder. 1, 2, 3.
Trailblazers coming in with their first conference win, looking to make it 2 straight wins. And that left Asa Chapman wide open in the flat, and he's got a first down out near midfield. But Daniel had his hands underneath the football and made the catch for a first down. Keeping himself, he's got the first down inside the 25, inside the 20, and knocked out of bounds at the 15-yard line. And that is a 22-yard run for Bronson Barman. And they give it to Asa Chapman. Chapman into the end zone, touchdown! Asa Chapman, 7 yards, and the Trailblazers an extra point away from tying this baby up. But he cannot get away from Dallin Havea, who gets a sack. Barman caught Eric Olson near midfield, first down. Needed 10, he got 17. To Chapman, right up the middle, first down. Inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. 51-yard field goal attempt for Ubido. Good. A 51-yard field goal for Ilya Ubido. Cuts the Wildcat lead to 14-10. Stopped. Daniel Thomason's got it coming across the middle. Got a first down out near the 45-yard line. They'll mark him out to 44. So the Trailblazers did a lot of things well, gave themselves a chance, but mistakes ultimately cost them this ball game. And Utah Tech now heads back to St. George to get ready for the final road trip of the season next week at West Georgia. All right, a big shout out to our Utah Tech student interns, Ariel Frederickson and Ryan Keith, for producing and editing the sounds of the game, helping further our mission here at Utah Tech, active learning, active life for our students, and also Brooklyn Fair, the head of our Utah Tech Athletics creative content team, for the video. So that was what happened in Abilene last week. Now for the how it happened, let's head into the film room with head coach Lance Anderson in this edition of Film Session.
Okay, I'm going to start with one of our defensive plays that resulted in a sack. And with most sacks, it starts with good pass coverage. So I want to first just look at the pass coverage. We're in what we call a quarter, half type coverage, where this corner is responsible for this quarter of the field, the safety's responsible for this quarter, and so the other half of the field is this safety that's responsible there. And you're going to see across the board with this deep coverage, with the underneath coverage, that we've got really good coverage. There's nowhere for the quarterback to go with the throw, and then eventually our rush gets home. So if we let this play, and I'll stop it partway through here. So right before the quarterback starts to scramble, when he's ready to throw right here, you'll see that we've got great coverage across the board. We talked about our 3 deep defenders, and now our underneath defenders are all in great position here, taking away all the receivers, and now our pass rush is able to get home, pressure the quarterback, and then we're able to finish with a sack here. So I'll go to the end zone now. And we're going to run a stunt here with our defensive line. So we're going to work inside here. We're going to end up working inside here, work outside to contain here, and outside to contain here. And you'll see the first person that comes free is Cody Carlson, our defensive tackle, as he works out here to contain. He pressures the quarterback, and then it's going to be Dallin Havea that ends up finishing up with the sack. So let's take a look at the rush here. You'll see the stunt that we're running. You'll see 88 come free on the defensive right, force the quarterback to scramble. Moon Ashby misses him there, but then here comes Dallin Havea to finish the sack. So let's take a look at that one more time, because again, almost any sack, hey, it's rush and coverage working together. We saw that we had great coverage in the secondary and at the linebacker level, and now our stunt comes free, and we finish with a sack here with Dallin Havea. Okay, I'm going to go to the third quarter here and a key third down conversion on a drive that ends up in a field goal for us here. So here we're facing a 3rd down and 10. We've got 2 high safeties here from Abilene Christian, and we're going to try to target Eric Olson here on an out route for the 1st down. A couple key things you'll notice here is in the slot with Jaquio Mitchell. He's able to run this underneath defender off and clear that out for Eric Olson. On the outside here, Josh Rillos is able to release outside and occupy the corner, and then Bronson Barbin makes a great read and a great throw and hits Eric Olson here for the 1st down on a 3rd and 10, which is not usually easy to convert. So let's take a look at this play. Again, you'll see Josh Rillos release outside, occupy the corner. Jaquio Mitchell in the slot, run the nickel off, and that creates the opening right here for Eric Olson to get the ball, make a great catch, turn it upfield, and get the 1st down. So let's go back and take a look at that one more time. As you see, the great execution with the routes, clearing it out, good throw and catch, and a conversion of a 1st down. Now, what I want to look at here from the end zone copy is the protection. Obviously, on a 3rd down and 10, the quarterback needs to have time to make that throw. And here, Abilene gets a great rush from their defensive end, but Matt Snar is able to hang in here and hold up just enough to give Bronson time to step up and make the throw. So you'll see the pressure coming there from the outside. And this is just a great job by Bronson as he takes the snap, steps up, hangs in there even with the tackle kind of getting pushed back in his lap, and makes a great throw for the 1st down. That's the key to keeping drives going, or converting those 3rd downs. This was a big 3rd and 10 that led to a field goal.
All right, well, last week in Abilene, Texas, linebacker, a freshman, Moy Passy, tied for the team lead with 7 tackles, and his journey to become a starting linebacker today here in Carlton is incredible, to say the least. Not recruited at all out of high school as a running back, went to walk-on tryouts last spring in spring football, and he made the team as a running back. Then they asked him to switch to linebacker, a position he's never played before. And now he's starting today in that linebacker group. Moy was on the Lance Anderson Coaches Show Tuesday night, and he tells us this incredible story. Here's Moy Passy.
Me and my family, we were, prices in Hawaii is kind of high, so we were forced to kind of move out of Hawaii to go to Vegas. And I always had a dream of going to college. And so, UNLV was a little bit too expensive and stuff. And so my sister actually found this spot. And it was like an hour and a half from Vegas, so I'm still relatively close to my family. Yeah. And once I found out they had a D1 football program, I said, oh, okay, sure, why not? So I came here as a student and then waited for the walk-on tryouts, and the rest is history,
To me, it's a remarkable story. Yeah. I mean, Moy had been sending me his film through last fall, and just waiting for the spring when we had an opening. And like I said, he starts out as a running back with us and is doing a really good job playing running back, special teams. We have some need at linebacker. We move him there, and it's like he's been playing that position his whole life. Yeah. And he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
When they came to you and said, hey, we want to move you from the position you're most comfortable with to another position that you've never played before, did you think they were crazy?
I honestly don't. To be honest, I was pretty sad. It's a big change for me. And, but after I got over that mindset that, this is something that I might not want to do. I just gotta push past that, keep a good mindset, keep a good attitude. And I had a lot of good support around me with the boys. And so, I think that was crucial with me, like that big drastic change. Kind of see it as just God doing his thing. He has a plan for everybody. So, I played running back all throughout my whole life, high school, and, I came as a running back. And when coach offered me the opportunity to switch to linebacker, I took it with a good attitude, kept my head up, I tried to ball, and, the rest is in God's hands, and that's why I'm here right now.
Man, what an incredible journey for Moe Passy, and just a big-time definition of perseverance and not giving up on yourself and believing in what you want to accomplish, and he's doing that. And they were banged up in the linebacker position, so he started the last couple of games, and he expected to get the start here again today, even though Dalen Love, who's missed the last 2 games, he was the leading tackler before he got injured. He's going to be back today, and they're going to bring him in slowly. But Patsy's going to get the start again, and for more of his incredible journey, you can watch the entire interview on Trailblazer Sports Vision on YouTube. All right, when we come back, one of the most famous people to hail from right here in Carrollton. He had one of the most recognizable voices in the history of college football. Find out who it is next.
Welcome to Utah Tech University. From classrooms to cliffs and lectures to lakes. Here, we celebrate active learning, active life. Our Trailblazers learn by doing, are career ready, and solve real problems with real partners to meet community needs. Here, students get the full college experience and choose from 300 affordable academic programs. All in one of the most stunning destinations on earth. With this as your backyard, life is just as active as your education. Come experience active learning, active life at Utah Tech University.
One of the more famous natives of Carrollton, Georgia, legendary sportscaster Keith Jackson.
The hyperbole is done. Now we can finally play the game.
Jackson grew up on a farm in Carrollton before enlisting into the Marines.
We're going to play football. Yippee!
He then would go on to have a 40-year career at ABC Sports.
That purveyor of those golden moments that last a lifetime in the game of college football.
Becoming one of the most recognizable voices in the history of sports broadcasting.
Now, for those of us old enough to remember Keith Jackson, he was incredible, passed away a few years ago, but he was one of the most recognizable voices in all of college football history, and he grew up right here in Carrollton on a farm. All right, time now to get the final word with head coach Lance Anderson. Look back at what went wrong last week in Abilene and what we have to look forward to today here against the Wolves, the 24th ranked team in the country.
Coach, final road game of the season, last chance to get a road win and for your guys just to be together on a long trip.
Exactly. I mean, I love going on the road, spending time with the team, eating meals together, meetings together, things like that. We've competed well on the road other than the Austin Peay game, but now it's time where we've really got to finish one of these games on the road.
So after last week's game at Abilene Christian, what did you want to solidify and get better at this week?
So defensively, we've got to continue to play hard. We got to keep getting better at tackling. We got to get off the field better on third downs, keep battling as we're in the red zone. So we got to keep doing that. Offensively, again, number one, the obvious thing from last week, we have to eliminate the turnovers. Those are huge. And then going back to North Alabama, we've got to be able to finish drives, put the ball in the end zone.
So when you look at West Georgia, much improved from last year when they were here in Greater Zion Stadium.
Yeah, watching them on film this year, they look like a different team. I mean, they are very athletic. There's a lot of speed. Maybe they're not the biggest team, but they have decent size. But boy, they are very athletic, very fast. I also think that they're very creative in their game planning in all phases. They're very aggressive in all phases.
All right, so you're back on the beach again. You see a lamp, and a genie comes out, gives you one wish. Not a win, but one wish for Saturday.
My wish is a win.
Besides the win. It's obvious.
Okay, besides the win, boy, I just want to see us play hard. Play with great effort, fight from start to finish, because I know if we do that, we're going to be in the game and we're going to have a chance to get that win.
Now, Coach always just has one wish from that genie that he finds on the beach in a lamp. Just get a win, no matter how you get it. Trailblazer trying to pick up their first conference win first road win of the season. Trying to pick up their first road win in over 2 years. The last time they got a win away from St. George was September of 2023 in Flagstaff against Northern Arizona. This is the final road trip of the season before heading back to St. George to wrap it up next week with Eastern Kentucky. And this is our final road trip as members of the United Athletic Conference. Next year, we'll be heading into the Big Sky Conference, and we will not have to travel east of the Mississippi many more times. So a couple things to look forward to. Shamar Garrett is back after missing last week's game. So will Reggie Graff, quarterback, will he play receiver? How much receiver? And will he be used as more of a than he was last week when he was used mainly as a decoy? So we're about ready to get things started under 5 minutes from kickoff. Utah Tech and the 24th ranked West Georgia Wolves, and for the first time since November of 2022 in Provo against BYU, Utah Tech will be playing on grass and not turf. They're going to play on real grass. This is only the second time in the Division I era that Utah Tech will play on real grass. We'll see if that's a good thing for the Trailblazers. Here we go, Utah Tech and the West Georgia Wolves coming up on the Fan Sports Radio.